While you and I are trying to survive Bidenomics and inflation out of our assholes, AOC has the nerve to fix her mouth to say that $174,000 a year is not enough to survive on? What kind of deranged, altered reality is she living in? People from Maine, people like you and I, we are working minimum wage jobs. We are working trades that we have to have a skill in, but we are working laborious hours on hours on hours, putting in manual labor for a job in order for our families to comfortably get by. But that's barely enough nowadays. That's barely enough in a society, in a state, especially like Maine, that it does not take that much to survive on. It should not, but increasingly that's not the case. And then AOC and others have the nerve, the audacity to say that they want more money? Let's get into this, y'all. I am heated.
Brought to us by Business Insider. AOC still thinks $174,000 isn't enough money for members of Congress. I know it's kind of a contrarian position. Members of Congress make $174,000 a year, but they haven't gotten a raise since 2009. Oh, you darlings. I feel so badly for you. The mistreatment. I mean, that's despite 15 years of inflation since then. AOC says that needs to change if we want working class people in Congress. That's a stupid ass argument, because working class people would be more than thrilled to make that much money. Are you kidding me? That's not the reason that working class people are staying out of Congress. Wake the hell up. Democrat Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York has long been vocal about the need for members of Congress to get a pay bump. As it turns out, Representative Patrick McHenry, the North Carolina Republican who briefly served as interim Speaker of the House in October, agrees with her, recently telling the Dispatch that congressional pay needs to be raised to attract credible people to run for office. Okay, so those are two different arguments. One's for working class people, one's for credible people to run for office. And I don't agree with either one. I don't think we need to raise the money for working class people, and I don't think that we should be raising the money to attract credible people. Because while I understand we need the right person in the right position, they are public servants. Wake up. You, McHenry, you are a public servant. You do not go into Congress to come out wealthier than when you went in. You get enough money to make it by. I don't want to see you in poverty, but you are a public servant, so there is no need for you to be making that kind of money. Also, AOC, you are already a millionaire. How? How? You didn't get that from bartending? And I know, because I was a bartender. Worked my ass off. You're not going to make that money there. How are you a millionaire? And just for image sakes, here we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And then we have Republican Patrick McHenry. Two different weasels. I've been saying this for a long time, Ocasio-Cortez told Business Insider this week. I think he's right. I know it's kind of a contrarian position. The New York Congresswoman has argued that a raise is needed both for anti-corruption reasons and to allow a broader group of Americans to seek public office. Again, that is a flawed argument. A disproportionate share of lawmakers are millionaires, and some many times over. Okay, are you talking about yourself here, AOC? I have to pause the video and go look because there is no evidence that she is a millionaire. So I cannot claim that. But she is worth well more than the average American, of whom she is a public servant. So does it make sense that public servants are making more money than the individuals, the constituents that they represent? Just some food for thought. If we want working class people who don't rely on independent wealth to represent people in Congress, we have to make it work, said Ocasio-Cortez, pointing to the need for members of Congress to maintain a residence in both Washington and their home districts. But she also made clear that she's not just looking out for herself. We need to raise minimum wage. We need to make child care financially viable, and we need to do that for every American, she said. We also need to do that in the House. Who is paying for all this? Where is this money coming from? Because I'm already having the money stolen from my paycheck every single week. Every time I look at my bank account, I have money just ripped away from me. Who is gonna pay for this? Because I sure as hell ain't. I ain't. No, ma'am. Since 2009, rank and file members of House and Senate have been paid a $174,000 annual salary, and Congress has blocked cost of living adjustments every year since then. While that's more than 80% of American households make in a year, experts have argued that lawmakers remain underpaid, given both the importance and the unique demands of the job. If lawmakers' salaries had kept pace with inflation, they would make over $250,000 now? Are you kidding me? No, what needs to happen is Maine needs to buy a house in DC that they maintain, and then the congressmen and women circulate through that house, just like the Blaine House in Augusta. It's the Capitol House. It's where the governor and the family stays while the governor is in their work. And it makes sense because you have to be in Augusta, and it's not going to be that every Mainer is going to buy a house in Augusta in order to go there and represent. So what needs to happen is New York needs to buy a house in DC and maintain it for the Senate. And while that Congress member is traveling between, they have their house back in their state, and they have a bunker house to go to. Duh. There is no reason that lawmakers need to be making $250,000. More than, that's not even currently. That's what they want. But they already make more than 80% of average Americans. That is not okay. No. Yet polling suggests that the public largely opposes a raise for members of Congress, and plenty of lawmakers, including progressives, argue against it. People who make great contributions to America don't do it for the money, Democratic Representative Ro Khanna of California told Business Insider this week. I think we can attract talent without the finances. Yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. So AOC and McHenry, you little weasels, go ahead and scurry on out of here. If you're not making enough money, then go find a job where you can make the salary that you want, because Congress will keep on moving without you. There's the door. Go to it. Stop complaining. We have so much money taken from us. Our taxes are being robbed. They're going overseas. They're going to things that average Americans do not want. You don't get a pay raise. You don't get any more money until you start fixing what's wrong. Fix what's wrong, and then we'll talk. Other than that, I think you need less money. I think that $174,000 is more than enough. Maybe you should be making what the average American household makes. Find the exact average, and that's what lawmakers make. And AOC, I mean, since you're the one speaking up about this, you're bringing it to light, I think that you need to know that your face is going to be the reason that I petition to lower the wages of Congress. So, if your intention was otherwise, you did a piss poor job. So, like I said, scurry on out of here. Until next time, y'all, it's been Drew Hoagland with Mainstream Current.